Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, we are definitely drinking some bourbon. All right, Ben, we have teased this a time or two on the show.
Yeah.
There's a story here. What's with the wild turkeys?
So, as you can see...
I'm going to start pouring while you talk.
Okay.
Just so it doesn't take a million hours.
Yep, these are 3 different bottles of Wild Turkey 101. But the main reason we're doing this flight is because we have this special bottle that is on the right. This is an old bottle that I found. This bottle label was discontinued in 2015. And I was on a vacation in January in the Bahamas, and I found it sitting on the shelf in a liquor store just randomly. And so I thought it was cool because it had the old label that you can't get anymore. And the other thing is, this was sitting in a storefront window, and I'll put up a picture so you can see. The label is so sun-faded, it's completely black and white. So I bought 3 of these from...
That's the middle one.
They had 3 bottles in that liquor store that have presumably been sitting there since 2015 because they were all dusty, literally dusty.
Yeah.
And then so I went in there and it's like, boom, bought all 3 of them. So I grabbed one to open on the channel, and then I grabbed one for me to put in my collection as a collector's item, and then one for Greg.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. So we're gonna find out, the difference between these 3 bottlings. So then the next one we have is the one that was just discontinued within the last year.
Yeah, so this is about a year-old bottle. We just opened it today, but about a year old.
Yep.
Should be pretty traditional Wild Turkey that we all know and love. And then Wild Turkey did just change their bottle, and that's this one that you're...
Yeah, so now, I don't know if there's a difference between the new bottle and the most recent one. I'm expecting there may be a difference between this 2015 one after sitting in the sun for 7 years.
So it's at least 7 years old. B, literally the label's faded. It's a red and black label. Normally, it's up on the shelf, and you saw Ben's picture. So it is, who knows what's happened to it.
Yeah. I've never done the experiment of putting a bottle in the sun
For 7 years.
for 7 years
Yeah.
and seeing what happens to it. So we're gonna do a little side-by-side of all 3 of these. The main reason being to try this old bottle.
Yeah.
Now, old, I mean, 2015, it's not like it's a vintage or anything like that, but again, it's sitting out there in the sun, losing all of its color on the label for that long. The plastic was completely deteriorated.
It was really hard to actually remove the plastic. It was so brittle.
Yeah, it just kept breaking off in little pieces.
So this is another in our For Science.
Yes, for
Series.
science, always for science here at the Bourbon Note.
Yeah.
And these were all fresh cork pops. I don't know if you said that, but every one of these was just popped.
Correct.
Just now. So,
Yep.
All right, let's get into the nose on the dusty bottle here.
The dusty, sun-faded.
Oh my God.
Well, that's pleasant.
Yeah. I'm gonna nose all of these together before I taste
was
anything.
Heading down the same path. Significantly less. I don't know if
It's not as bold, is it? That's what I was just gonna say. It's getting a little better on the second sniff.
toffee. I definitely notice that if you do a pour and you let it set for a few minutes, it helps. Like, I mean, I think the alcohol kind of like evaporates a bit, and it's in the Glencairn.
Ooh. I wonder, do I have a little bit? No, these are all about the same.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit short on this one, and that can make a difference in the nose especially. I really, let me go back into this.
It takes a minute.
Yeah,
I mean,
it takes a minute. So, especially you gotta get your nose acclimated too.
Yep. There we go. That one's opening up.
Wild Turkey 101 is just so freaking good anyway.
It is one of the, I mean, it's not a hidden, I think most people know it's great.
Bourbon lovers know it's great.
Yeah, some people, I guess, have an anti-Wild Turkey streak for, I don't know.
We call those people wrong. All right, so they're getting a little more similar on the nose, but I do feel like this old school bottle is a little more bold.
It does seem to come across as a little bit more
Heavy brown sugar. and barrel.
And toasted almond. Something I noticed on that one.
We'll put these two next to each other. I can definitely tell they're the same kind of bourbon.
Yep.
All right, let's go in for the taste.
All right.
I've been wanting to try this bottle.
Well, you've been back since January.
Yeah, and it's now April 14th, whatever. So not that long, but we just haven't gotten around to doing this, and so let's give her a whirl. Cheers.
Right, cheers. Very heavy mouthfeel. I was actually worried that the sun may break some stuff down and it like go watery. Like that's really dense.
It is. It's got a really nice bite to it too.
It does.
That brown sugar and caramel and barrel char is really up front for
It's
me on this.
oily. And sometimes that comes across as like a negative, but it just really delivers the flavors right to your tongue.
Yeah.
And they stick there. This is really, really good. And to be honest, it's been a while since I've had 101.
I've been drinking it lately because I've got it in the decanter upstairs, the bathtub decanter.
That's the decanter next to the bathtub. Not the bathtub has not been turned into a decanter. FYI. Per se.
Swallowed that one a little wrong. God, that's just got so much flavor to it.
It does. So the question is, okay, is it this bottle being unique or is it just 101? Or was it 7 years ago, Wild Turkey?
Or did all that sunshine do something to it? Should we go no water between these?
I'm going no water.
Okay. Let's go for the recently discontinued bottle, but not an old bottle.
Right.
That hits different.
I think it's genuinely different.
Yeah, that's noticeably different.
It is a very nice bourbon, and I mean, I love it. But it's not the oily, heavy mouthfeel of this one.
It doesn't have the upfront flavor punch. Like on the old one, the dusty one, and there literally is dust on all three of these bottles that I bought.
Yep.
That one just really has an upfront like flavor bite to it that I think is a little more bold. They're the same kind of flavors, you know?
It's the toffee, caramel, brown sugar, burnt.
I'm getting that heavy,
char.
Burnt char and brown sugar is really on the forefront. I'm gonna try the recent one again. Yeah, it just hits a little bit different.
It's the exact same flavors, but it's, I don't know. It's almost like Paul McCartney's playing the drums and Ringo's playing guitar. You know what I mean? It's the same band that you know and love, but something's just not right.
That's an interesting way to put that. I like it.
That's the Beatles, by the way.
I'm well aware of that. All right, let's go for the new bottling. I have heard some rumblings that the new bottling is a little different.
That's
and some people are saying, "Oh, I want the old ones back." And then I've also heard people say there's nothing to it.
I think the new bottle is gorgeous as a bottle that sits on the shelf. I absolutely love the bird that's now, I don't know what that, engraved, embossed, stuck on.
Yeah, I don't know, what would you call that? Embossed, I think?
Molded in? I don't know. If you're a bottler,
hit us up.
Yeah.
Go back to this one.
They're the same flavors. And they're such good flavors, it's really hard to decide. But they all hit different.
A little bit, yeah. I'm actually getting a little more corn forward on the newer bottle. And that could just be, this was the last one in the flight.
Yep.
You know, that's gonna make a difference. But we wanted to give the first sip to the truly unique bottle out of these three.
And there could be a ton of things different. I mean, it's probably the same yeast strain, it's the same mash bill overall. But maybe this used to be a a 6-year and become a 5.5-year and a 5-year. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think they still run 6 to 8 years, but yeah, who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some water now
Okay.
and then go through the flight the opposite direction. And feel free to pour more out of that Dusty if you're running out.
So you're just gonna like face the mirror, like?
Tastes different when you're facing the mirror.
All right. Back to front, as they say.
All right. This is just so good overall. I just
Yeah.
love Wild Turkey 101.
You know, if there's anybody out there watching who does not have a YouTube channel where you sit and drink bourbon, you're missing out. This is why we do this show.
I start calling this my side job so I can just say that I'm at work. It's like, I have to drink bourbon, I'm at work.
Exactly.
Interesting sting on this one.
You know, I think the mouthfeel on this one, there's a real nice density here. There's a great density here, and it's slightly less here.
Okay. Let's see if that changes. Go into the, you want the middle one now? I gotta tell you, I think that people have said on different, like, you know, I've seen this on Instagram or different videos, like, what's your desert island bourbon? If you're gonna be stuck on a desert island, you can only have one bourbon, what's it gonna be? I think Wild Turkey 101,
I think it hits a lot of people's list.
yeah, I think it's a common one. I would say this or like an Early Times Bottled in Bond or an Old Forester 100.
This is, without even thinking about it, this is my top 3. And then if I really, really thought about it, there's one other that I think I potentially may choose that's even slightly lower proof point.
What's that one?
1783.
Okay, Evan Williams. I was gonna guess that.
Just because I tend to like that sweeter taste profile.
That's a good one.
I think Wild Turkey comes across as a little bit more spicy, but I absolutely love it. This is genuinely, easily in the top 3.
And it's readily available and it's cheap.
And it has a bird on the
Yeah, it's got
bottle.
a bird. All right, going back to the Dusty one here.
Oh,
Did you have any of the middle one yet?
I did.
Okay.
I am prepared to make a statement.
I am too.
So, first and foremost, if you happen to have had any bottles sit in the sun for 7 years, it only helps.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. This one is noticeably different.
It is better. Now, I don't know if it like broke down certain molecules and it's more, because I think it's sweeter.
Maybe they changed it when they changed the label, like some people are saying happened with the new one.
Or 7 years ago bourbon, set aside the setting in the sun, just a 7-8-year-old bourbon, whatever it is different.
Could be. It does hit different. There is a noticeable, now it's the same flavors, you can definitely tell it's the same bourbon, same
Yes, very,
distillery.
very similar.
But there is something about it that just, again, I'm getting just such a bold brown sugar, oak spice, caramel. I mean, it's just with a little spice on top of it, and it's so just right at the very front of the palate all the way through. Whereas the other two, it's got those bold flavors, but I feel like the brown sugars and the stuff is turned down a little bit, and I'm getting a little more like that dark caramel and spice.
So the way I described it is the flavors are very similar. This is more oily, and it's like it sticks to your tongue, and it really pushes the flavor in and holds the flavor there. So it's just more intense. Wild Turkey's known for being intense. Flavors are turned up to 11. Maybe this is 11.1.
Could be.
It's pretty awesome. I think the mouthfeel / density of it is the thing that makes it unique. It's the same flavors overall.
Even just kind of rapid fire drinking all these in a row again and doing this one last, there's something to it.
It's noticeably different. It tastes like clearly the same distillery, but it's almost like this is kind of their everyday, which it is, their everyday bourbon, and this is like a single barrel or a quality one.
Maybe,
you know,
I don't know, maybe they're
kind
doing
of thing.
smaller batches back then or something like that.
Yeah. This is kind of before the big bourbon boom.
Which is actually, now that I think about it, this is really disappointing.
No, I'm not surprised. Well,
No, I'm not disappointed, but I want more bottles of this.
Well, yeah.
Now, we have 2 more bottles of this between the two of us, but
that's true.
for me, the other bottle that I have of this falls into that category of this is a bottle that I'm not going to open because I have another one that I can open. So I can experience the whiskey, but whenever there's a new label that comes along, I like to buy one bottle of the old label and then hang on to it just as a collector's item.
Of really unique things.
Yeah.
Like I have that 1783, I have an old and a new bottle.
Yeah,
that I'll hold on to.
and they're readily available everywhere, but
do.
at some point, 10 years from now, that label's gonna be kind of cool to have on your shelf. Now, if I only had one bottle of this old label, I would have opened it.
Of course.
And not just kept it. And I would have kept the bottle as a collector's item. But since I did open it, you know, or I don't know, maybe at some point I'll open it, but my plan is to keep it on the shelf is to kind of have like a, you know, some different labels. Because I got into the bourbon game a little bit late and I didn't really have access to those earlier stuff, like the stuff we took shots of at the bar 20 years ago. Like that bottle, I would kill to have that bottle on my shelf now.
So what you're saying, to put a little bit more like a point on it, when you were young, or you or other people like you, I don't know if it was you would buy something like this and do shots of it.
Yeah.
Probably out of this bottle, not this exact one, but you know,
even before that.
Yeah,
like
even before this,
labels,
even older.
But never appreciated
And
the
never
bourbon.
appreciated what it was. It was
we
just,
bought it because we thought it was like
you want to get
cheap
hammered.
rot gut whiskey and it was high proof.
And
then
it was.
It turns out it's just wonderful, awesome.
I don't know why.
But you mentioned like not opening this, like the other one. For me, 20 years, I think, is the point. I don't know if it's going to be any better or different, but I definitely don't want a bottle sitting on my shelf that's 20 years old that's not been opened. Like,
I don't want a bottle sitting on my shelf for 20 years that's not been opened that I've never had. That's where I come in. So,
because I mentioned once, and we don't have to go down this road because it's kind of morbid, but the worst thing in the world is to have somebody else inherit your bourbon collection.
yeah, you die and then
after
somebody
you
else
die.
gets all your bourbon.
So drink your bourbon.
Yeah. Well, again, so tell you what, I have a perfect way to put a fine point on this. Okay. So there is another 101 proof wild turkey product out there.
You are teasing me now.
So wait a minute, I got to do one thing.
Oh,
The blend, all three of them.
I think they're so close that
I'm going to set this aside and not drink that until after we've had this next one. So let's bring this in.
This is the, so go ahead and explain to our
This is,
lovely viewers.
bam, Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit. So this is basically Wild Turkey 101 single barrel. It's 101 proof, just like this. I don't know what the aging is on this, but this is maybe more in the category of barrel placement.
Barrel
the ones that they
selection.
select
Yep,
for their single barrels.
prime spot in the rick house.
Now, here's the part where...
Guessing Jimmy personally selected this. Maybe Eddie.
Eddie,
They
yeah,
both help out. Bruce.
So, God, it's happening again with the fucking plastic.
So Ben has a personal hatred for plastic,
Yeah, I can never get it off
and
the bottle.
the plastic always
I
wins.
see other people do this so smoothly on... Okay, we're just gonna leave this like this
No,
for
it
the...
looks good. Everyone likes it.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
So,
You
here's
should
where...
probably rinse your glass.
Here's
Here,
where
let me finish that off. You rinse your glass.
our bourbon credentials completely go off the rails and half of you unsubscribe.
Oh, you're gonna say something negative?
Yes. About you and me.
Well, then certainly more people would.
How much time do you have?
Exactly. Didn't know we were filming it.
We
too
have
long.
not actually had this.
I may have is the best I can give you.
I have not had Kentucky Spirit, and I'll tell you why. It's just been one of those ones
So
that...
it's a store pick always, right? This is the Ace Spirit.
It's not
ones.
always a store pick. They just
Oh.
have regular single barrels as well.
Okay, this one happens to be Ace Spirits in Wayzata, Minnesota from last year.
I have had, I have the Russell's picks, Russell's regular single barrel, Russell's Reserve 10, all of those. I've got a Master's Keep on the shelf.
Yep.
For whatever reason, I just have never gotten around to picking up a Kentucky Spirit besides this bottle, and that's what brings it into what we were talking about. Bam. This
That's
is
what I had. I had a Haskell's in that bottle. So I've never had this one. I had that in a Haskell's.
So this
Store
is
pick.
the old school Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit bottle that was discontinued in 2015 or 16. I think maybe around the same time this one was.
Oh, wow.
And a couple of years ago, I was lucky enough to just find a dusty bottle of this on the shelf. And so I bought it.
Is that from a store pick?
This is from MGM Wine and Spirits.
Okay.
I got this one down in Chanhassen. So this bottle I don't intend to open.
Okay.
because I want to keep the bottle as a collector's item. Now I know it's a single barrel, so they can vary, but I can go buy a Kentucky Spirit.
The good news is there's plastic on it, and it's highly unlikely you could actually
That I'll even
open
be
it.
able to get into it, right? So that kind of plays into
Yeah.
these other bottles. So as long as I can experience the whiskey somewhere else in a different bottle, I will sometimes keep a collector's item bottle on my shelf.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but
okay.
only if I can experience the whiskey. Like all my rare bottles, like the Rip Van Winkle and Stag and all that stuff, those I open
Okay.
because I don't have 2 bottles of those to keep one on the shelf as a collector's item.
Yeah.
So anyway, that explains that. So let's do a little tasting of the Kentucky Spirit. So now this is basically just Wild Turkey 101 in single barrel form.
Doing a decent pour because it's been a long day. And I do have a little bit left of your Bahamas special version. Mm-hmm. Sun-baked, I think they call this.
Why not? So one of the reasons that I've maybe not been so fast to pick this up is because it is double the price for the most part.
Okay,
It
so
runs around, well, maybe not double the price. No, it's about
These are low 20s?
mid to high 20s now at this point for a liter.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so then this one runs about $55.
Yeah, okay.
So
That's the same as Russell's Reserve.
Yep. So, but the reason that I haven't picked one of these up is just because I've had Wild Turkey 101 and I've wanted to get a Kentucky Spirit, but it is at the end of the day, it's Wild Turkey 101 in single barrel form. So I'm like, how much different can it be? How much do I want to prioritize purchasing this bottle over something else? I recently was watching the Drew P. Whiskey show.
You should tag him.
Yeah, if you are watching our channel and for some reason have not heard of him, definitely go check him out. And he said that this one is exponentially better than actual Wild Turkey 101. Wow. Worth the price hike. So,
Are you prepared to show him up publicly and in this public forum?
well, I'm usually prepared to kind of take him at his word. So, we'll see if I usually kind of tend to agree with the things that he says. I think we have similar tastes and palates. So,
I'm gonna do a slightly more pour of the original 7-year-old Bahamas special. Mm-hmm. Partly because I just want to drink more of it.
sure.
And partly because I think that they smell significantly different.
All right, now I got to do a pour of this one again. This is how we end up drinking like
Yeah.
so much whiskey.
So earlier in the video, I made reference to if you don't have a YouTube channel where you drink bourbon, this is why.
Yeah, if we were just doing this recreationally on a Thursday, people would.
Nobody would be interested in that.
Yeah.
But the reality is,
So this is the old one.
give it a minute to open up.
I am going to go with the Kentucky Spirit first, though, because I've had water kind of cleanse the palate, so I
Fair
want to
enough.
give this a fair shake.
Yeah, just do another water.
Great nose on the Kentucky Spirit.
So, Wild Turkey 101 single barrel. And we're hoping this was a good barrel picked by Ace Spirits. They know what they're doing. They're pretty nice liquor
Great
shop.
liquor store.
Yep.
All right, let's go for it.
Okay.
Much more cinnamon forward.
Cinnamon and almond forward.
Yeah. I was going to say a little bit of corn, but I think what I'm thinking of as the corn is kind of
It's almost almond
I
butter.
think you're right with the almond notes.
esque. It's almond butter. It's freaking amazing, by the way. if I
Yeah,
didn't
really
say that.
good.
All right, now we're gonna go back to the Bahamas special.
We will have to do a proper review of this at some point.
You're implying that what we're doing right now is improper.
I don't think it's a fair review. It's the 4th one we've had. But yeah, really, really good. So I haven't gone back to the Bahamas one.
I
How do you
just
think it
did.
stacks up? Well, don't say it yet. Let's. I think my palate is starting to get a little bit tamped down.
You just need to drink more
That's probably it.
and become a
You should be a doctor.
and become a billionaire. Mm-hmm. Those two things are set for life.
You actually recommended that to me.
I did.
In one of our
Last-
videos that I
yeah.
should just become a billionaire. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
I said in that video I was going to do that the next day. It did not happen.
Ambition.
Yeah. I just didn't get around to it.
Before this video becomes riveting, what do you think?
I love the Kentucky Spirit.
So do I.
It's definitely got a...
I feel like it's maybe longer aged because the barrel char is more prominent than, say, this one.
It stands on its own pretty well, I think, as like being a little bit unique that it separates from this. Because when you're at the same proof point, same mash bill, same a lot,
Yep.
you know, there are some bourbons that do a single barrel and they age them a few years longer. Evan Williams, for example.
Yeah.
So, like you were just saying, this one might be aged a little bit longer. We don't know. Stands on its own. I don't know if I'm fully on board with it's that much better than regular Wild Turkey 101,
I can buy into that.
you know? But it's definitely really good.
So I definitely think it tastes like Wild Turkey 101. The thing that's different is the mouthfeel / density of it, which actually makes it really close to this for me.
I think out of all these, honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I think the old one is the best.
Absolutely. This is unique, and I don't know why it's unique. If it's being baked in the sun, or is it just older mash bill was slightly different? I don't know. I actually really like the current version. So if you...
I love every one of these.
Well, I love every one of them.
There's no loser in
No.
this group at all. These are all 100%
There's two losers, but let
winners.
it go.
Well, yeah. Amongst the bottles, there are no losers.
So I like the current version a lot. But I feel that this guy is slightly longer age and slightly more interesting mouthfeel. Gets really close to this, actually. So if you're curious what this is like, a modern Kentucky Spirit...
Go to Ace Spirits.
Well, probably
And
almost...
it's a single barrel, though.
It
so,
is,
I mean,
but I think they can get close.
yeah. Well, this could also be a barrel handling thing. We just did a Booker's review.
Totally.
Booker's being a 6.5-year bourbon. The one we did was 6.5, give or take.
Yeah.
And we're kind of talking about that. Like, maybe this is a good example of maybe not just hanging your hat on the age, but just the barrel placement in the warehouse. That could be the same thing with this.
Or Blessed by Jimmy.
Yeah,
Or
that
Eddie.
too.
Or Bruce.
So let's get down to brass tacks here. Did you do a blend?
No, I'm going easy on it.
It's not too late.
Well, I know. It is too late.
Well, I didn't pour more of this to give myself a blend. I just saved a little bit.
I'm holding on to just a single pour of this to finish.
Well, pour yourself some more if you want.
No, I already did.
All right, so this is a blend of all three of the regular Wild Turkeys.
Which is, if you're doing the math, 303 proof.
Yep, that's exactly how that works. If you blend 3 101s together, it's 303 proof.
Amazing. $5 bet says you actually catch on fire as you drink it.
Let's say they're all 8 years old. This is a 24-year, 303 proof bourbon.
That's how that works. I think he's going to catch on fire as he drinks the bourbon.
Well, I tell you, it's got a great nose.
It does.
A lot of caramel. You know, I didn't get a bunch of cinnamon on any of these three, just the Kentucky Spirit.
This one I did.
I got cinnamon on the Kentucky Spirit, but get a little cinnamon on the nose of the combination of all three of them. All right, let's go in for the flavor here. Cheers. That's delightful. It's just a bunch of Wild Turkey 101.
But there's something unique.
I mean the blend.
I know. I'm talking about this particular bottle.
I will say this one, the old one, on its own is better than the blend.
Yes.
This one, this dusty bottle from... Here's the thing, maybe it was the sun. We could open up one of the ones that didn't sit in the sun that was behind it, that's not all faded, and see if they're different.
I think we could, but
In 20 years, when you want to open that bottle because you don't want it sitting on your shelf.
Agreed. When we do our 2000...
So I'll have to save a pour of this.
You know, this we've talked in the past about not killing bottles and having unicorns. Mm-hmm. Anything that you can buy, even if it's really hard, like a Pappy 23, you could buy that.
I mean, if you want to. I saw a Rip Van Winkle on the shelf yesterday in a small town liquor store that literally had maybe this much whiskey in total,
Nice.
or bourbon in total.
Yep.
Their shelf was like this wide.
Sure.
By this, all the basics, and then a Rip Van Winkle behind the counter for $500.
Wow.
And I was like, no.
But you can't buy this. Now, I don't know what a 7-year-old bottle, well, maybe this, because it was pretty commonly produced.
But you can't buy one that sat in the sun in the Bahamas.
Sat in the sun in the Bahamas. This truly is a unicorn.
Yeah.
Boing, boing, boing.
And it's delicious.
And it's freaking amazing. Mm-hmm. This is going to be hard for you to hold on to. Because you're going to want to drink it.
Yeah.
But you're also going to not want to drink it.
I'm going to make whiskey cokes with it.
That's a good idea.
I don't even like whiskey cokes. I love whiskey and I love Coke, but I don't like them together for whatever reason.
They're
it's just not
okay.
a thing that I
Bourbon Coke is okay.
like.
But
So,
it's for bad bourbons, by the way.
Here's the thing, though.
It's freaking amazing. This is a unicorn.
So there were 3 bottles of this in that liquor store that had obviously been sitting there for a very, very long time.
And go ahead and explain the laser code thing, just for our viewers still watching.
Oh, so I checked out the laser code. There's a laser code on the bottom of the bottles where you can tell like what year it came from.
Yeah.
It was a little confusing. Look up the term Julian date before you try to figure it out. That was the thing why I couldn't figure
It's
it out.
referencing Pope Julian IV. He was a pope.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway. So I went in there, they had 3 of these on the shelf that are covered in dust. One of them's so faded it's black and white.
Yeah,
I bought all 3.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. So these have been sitting there presumably for all that time, and then somebody just comes in one day and buys all 3. But I wonder if whoever, that day back in 2015, dude's driving around, making his rounds, dropping off whiskey bottles at different liquor stores, there might be more bottles of this in Nassau in different liquor stores.
Well, it's possible.
So, might have to go on a fact-finding mission.
Oh, that's a good idea. I mean, you do take a vacation every other month, so.
I mean, I try. So, yeah, I think that might be a thing that...
Well, you gotta try the other islands, too.
If we establish this as an official business, can I write that vacation
Oh,
off?
absolutely. That's
Boom!
investigative.
Look out, Bahamas. The ginger's coming your way. All right, we need to end this podcast because I'm starting to talk about myself in the third person, and that's just weird.
Well, you are weird.
Yeah. So this has been a bunch of wild turkey on the bourbon note. If you're still here watching, thank you. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Cheers.
All right. Getting ready to go back on the ship. Do have to get one more cigar. They just got that one small one. So I saw a sign for cigars, so we're gonna check this out. See what happens here. Oh, liquor store. Look at that. Well, we'll have to go check this out. Oh, they've got Wild Turkey 101. Look at that. It's all like faded. So, couple of Dusties. Awesome. Check it out. Old school Wild Turkey 101. And if you look, I don't know if you can see it, legitimate Dusties. So, I got a bottle for myself. Got a bottle for Greg as well. Even though the label is a little bit sun faded from sitting here. I mean, this label is from years ago. So, yeah, awesome. So who knows? I mean, I wasn't expecting to find much, to be honest. But just on this little offshoot liquor store here in the Bahamas, found a couple of old school bottles of Wild Turkey 101, which is obviously one of me and Greg's favorite bourbons. So, yeah, that's a score.